Are you living your life from a place of power or force? Let's see what one of the most influential books that I've ever read has to say about it. For more personal development tips and tricks that I have used and found helpful, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications of my latest videos that come out every Tuesday and Friday. Today I'd like to talk about a highly influential book that's had a major impact in my life. And that book is called Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. Now the book goes into talking about the different levels of consciousness and the different vibrational frequency that each level of consciousness emits, and the emotion that goes behind the level of consciousness that we, interact with each other. Now, how Dr. Hawkins did this was by doing a series of muscle testing on each level of consciousness and finding out the level of frequency on each one. What he's come to realize is that any emotion that is below 200 is working at a level of force, which means when we have regret, blame, anxiety about something, we are actually making the situation that we are dealing with a lot harder, because the vibrational frequency that we put out there is actually asking for more of that to come into our life. Now, this might come across as something very difficult to put your head around, but everything around us has a vibrational frequency. Everything. Your couch, your chair, your fridge, everything. And we, as human beings, emit a vibrational frequency that fluctuates based on the emotions that we have. Now, the beautiful thing about this is it shows that we can have some sort of power as to what comes into our lives. See, if we're constantly vibrating at a frequency where, where we're happy or at a level of forgiveness or understanding, then what we're doing is we're putting out into the atmosphere that is what we want back into our lives. And it just kind of keeps going that way. Now, I'm very, very conscious and aware of this. So I try and make an effort every day to keep my vibrational state at a high level so that I don't attract any of this lower type stuff into my life. Now, before I knew this, I was attracting all sorts of things and everything that could possibly come into my life that really were not favorable or desirable, to be quite honest. So having this information was really empowering. Now, I have been playing with vibrational frequencies and things like that before, but not really understanding what it was that I was doing. Now, this chart by Dr. David Hawkins made it so clear that it was a no-brainer for me. Now, the first time I actually came across frequencies was when I came across Young Living Essential Oils by Gary Young. Now, these are high-grade essential oils, and a friend of mine actually put some oil on my neck and a little bit under my nose, and she just said to me, well, just see if you feel anything different with this. And a few moments went by and nothing really happened, and then shortly thereafter this smile came on my face and I couldn't take it off, and I'm wondering, what in the hell has she just done to me? And because I was there smiling and beaming, just not knowing what for, I'm just smiling for the sake of smiling, I asked her, so what the hell have you done to me? And she goes, I've just given you some joy oil from Young Living. And I said, so what? It's just an oil. She goes, no, it's not. She said, Gary Young has actually found a way to tune the oil in such a way that it vibrates at the frequency of joy. Now, had she told me this right from the get-go, I would have called her out on it and said, right, mate, you're bullshitting me. But the fact that I was grinning from ear to ear, had no idea why, wasn't influenced in any other way, apart from the fact that she had just given me this oil, kind of led me to believe, or at least accept that, Gary Young had actually done something with this oil. So I thought, I've got to get a bottle of this stuff and I've got to test it out. And so that's exactly what I did. And I went to another friend's place and I said, mate, you've got to try this oil. I said, I don't know what it is. I said, but it really puts you on a high. And she goes, yeah, sure, mate, no worries. We'll try it out. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I put this oil on my friend and I put some on myself because it really smells divine, this oil, right? And within a matter of minutes, we were laughing like a couple of kookaburras in a gum tree. Like we were just rolling with hysterics. It's as if someone told us some really, hilarious joke. And I think for me, I just laughed even more because she was laughing. And you know how laughing can be so contagious when someone starts. Her husband came out and actually started to become self-conscious because he thought we were laughing at him because something was wrong with him. But in actual fact, it was the oil that was influencing us. And that was the first time I've ever come across anything to do with oils and vibrational frequency and anything like that. And it was just an unreal experiment, and it's divine. Like, I've had many experiences with this oil. It's amazing. So when I came across this chart, it just made sense to me. I thought for someone to be able to make an oil vibrate at the frequency of joy, it meant that he knew that joy was at 540 and he knew what blends to put in it to make it have that reaction on the human state. I thought it was absolutely ingenious. Absolutely ingenious. But then this chart has actually come into play and has helped me realize things that I would otherwise be lost. I'll give you another example, right? I had two friends come up to me and say, if this particular toxic person was to invite you to a party of theirs, what would you say? And I turned around and I said to them, I would actually say to that person, no, thank you. And they went off their nut. They said to me, are you flipping right? You're flipping mad. I said, what? They turned around and they said, no, thank you. You would say to that person, no, thank you. This person did this person did that. And they proceeded to list all the, transgressions this person's done. I mean, granted, this person, as far as I'm concerned, is highly toxic. But they proceeded to list all the things, and I knew exactly what they were going to list because I was there, like I know, right? And I said, yeah, I would say no, thank you. So I wouldn't go. What's your problem? What would you say? What would you have me say? And they turned around and they said to me, you should tell the person to go and get flipped. Now, you put in your own adjectives there. I mean, they did use adjectives and they were quite adamant about, what they were saying. And you can tell it came from, the deepest of their being, that, you not only don't say no, thank you, but you tell the person to go get flipped. And this kind of left me in a really bad place, and I really didn't know what to say or what to do with that. To me, it didn't make sense. Something was off. Even though I agreed with everything they had said, 100% without a question or a word of a lie, but something was off. And I couldn't quite pinpoint it. Anyway, I called another friend. I basically explained to her what I just said here, and she turned around and she asked me a question. She goes, why are you so upset that I don't agree with you? And I said, this is the thing. I do agree with everything they said. The problem is, I can't change who I am so that I can have the same level of attitude that they have. I just can't do it. I won't do it. I cannot do it. And straight away, she turns around, she goes to me, you've read the book Power versus Force, haven't you? And I said, yes, I have. And the second she said that, I knew where she was going to go. Because there is a section in that book that talks about or two people that got into a car accident. And he goes on to explaining the different types of attitude and the perspectives in which people take things on based on the level of vibration that they're at. And, you know, he goes on to explain, like, someone that's coming from blame, for instance, and gets into a car accident will come out, you know, all fists swinging and may even have a baseball bat and all those sorts of things and, you know, saying all sorts of profanities. Whereas someone, say, you know, in reverence or even understanding would come out of an accident and say, look, are you okay? Is everything good? So she said, you remember that part of the book? And I said, yes, I do remember that part of the book. She said, well, what you've got here is the fact that you're coming from a place of understanding. You understand that for someone to invite you to a party means a lot of growth on their part. But your friends who have just turned around and said, you know, tell the person to go get flipped, are vibrating at a different frequency. And they're coming from a different perspective and a different point of view. So that is the difference. And the second that she brought this up to me, it kind of put me at ease when that was brought to my attention. Because I was able to come from a place of acceptance then and accept my friends from where they are and accept myself for who I am and where I'm at. I mean, these are just a couple of examples of how vibrational frequencies happen and how that has an impact on our day-to-day lives that we take for granted. Because the conversation I had with my friends regarding this, you know, toxic person that I was talking about is just a normal everyday conversation. And we have many of those on a day-to-day basis that we really don't understand and come to a place of acceptance and saying, okay, well, that's where they are at.
If you found this video to be of value, hit the like button and share it with people you feel would get great benefit from listening to it. So until next time, live life to the fullest and be the best you can be. Bye for now.